Hey friends, today we are working on an old GSX750 Katana. That's a 12 of 90, so a 91 I guess this is. And anyway, I figured, you know what? This is literally the first carbs I'm ever sinking in my life. I tried a little bit on one of my Viragos there. There's my other one. Here's another Virago. Anyway, and I couldn't find much for videos on 4-cylinders. Maybe I'm just not finding them. Maybe there's plenty, I can't find them. But anyway, as far as I know, the best way to do it is set of gauges. They're not that expensive. I bought this kit off of Amazon for, it's over there actually, a complete kit off Amazon for, I don't know, 60 bucks or something. Even if you only sink a carb once, it'll save you that in one shot already. And I'll start off with the basics. If I'm not mistaken, every single motorcycle will have either these, which are normally covered by these little plugs over here. It'll have either those ports that you slide hoses onto, or you might find a plug, just a regular old screw plug on the side somewhere that you got to take out, in which case you use these adapters here, and there's various ones in there. You should find one that fits. I've never even tried, but yeah, like I said, this is literally the first bike I'm ever sinking, but pretty impressed with how easy it is, actually. So you either find your vacuum port. I imagine it would be up on the vacuum side of the motor normally. And then, like I said, if it's not here, find your vacuum plug, screw in the fitting that fits, use this. I can't give you any other methods of doing it because this is the only one I know. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your gauges are all pretty close with each other. So you can tell they seem to be pretty close there. But what you got to do, one guy on YouTube actually mentioned, is you need to go here. Let's use the flash of the camera. So you see that screw right there, actually, that little guy there, and that's your adjustment. And you'll find a screw like that on each one of these carbs, and that basically just connects to your throttle linkage, which goes across. You can see it better right there. And there's your middle screw, and there's your third screw. Why only three, you say? Well, you do pairs. Don't mind the dirty, nasty bike. This bike has been parked for 3 years. I brought it to a mechanic that said he was going to tune them up for me. And my bikes, these three and another one, have been sitting there for 8 months, and he still hadn't done it. So finally he said he didn't have time. I should just come pick them up. So you synchronize 2 at a time. You balance 2 at a time, and you'll find the fluctuation between your vacuum gauges. If you go in, you'll find one goes up, one goes down, vice versa. Find the sweet spot. You'll figure it out. Maybe blip the throttle after your adjustments just to make sure your vacuum's good. And then you do the other side 2 at a time. That's what these screws are for. One there, one there. And then once you've done syncing them with each other, then you do this one. And then it's just balancing the sets, right? So these two, and then these 2 banks to finalize it. And that's how you get it. Because I had one side was at 30 after I synced them individually, and the other side was like 10, 15. And after that, it's actually pretty simple. So I think I might have to do a couple more little fine-tuning bits here. But like I said, not much to it. If you want to do a lot of this, grab a zip tie, put it on a clutch, so you don't have to try to multitask with everything all the time. It's just a lot easier that way. And I know some of these are going to be a lot harder than that, because that's stupid Virago, which is the same thing as that. They're both Virago 920s. They have it up underneath somewhere, and of course you'd only need 2 gauges to do them. But they have their sync screw underneath, and I mean, it's not impossible to get at, but it's just a stupid design. But anyway, I hope I covered everything. Another thing, these little screws here are to adjust your gauges to where they're not bouncing too much. You just want to have them just tight enough to where they're not bouncing around. And for fuel, this one's got 2 fuel lines, which a lot of these probably will. Literally all I do is I've got my little funnel here. I don't really want to mount a gas tank up here somewhere in the way, so I stick a tiny little funnel in there. If you don't have one, I'm sure you could figure something out. Buy yourself a little funnel from somewhere, or or make your own, I guess. There's probably various ways of making your own funnel, but yeah, find some way that you can put fuel in there. And I just fill one, transfer it to the other, and then I fill that funnel up, and when that funnel gets empty, then I top that up, and then I transfer back to the other one. I just make sure it stays topped up that way. And again, this is another one of them random unorganized videos by myself, but I figured, you know what, I'll post a video, and you never know, maybe one day it'll help somebody. Another thing to keep in mind, you see these covers here. For every port that you have here, if yours have ports like this, there's got to be O-rings in there, all right? You take these two off, you'll see your diaphragm in there, like a rubber diaphragm, works as a gasket for this here too. But there's got to be an O-ring in there, and actually I just had a friend of mine clean these carbs today. I give him some work from time to time just to kind of help him out. And he had lost one of these O-rings in here, and I couldn't get any pressure here. I was like, all the other ones were working fine, but this one would not move. Not much anyway, not like it should. Finally, I took it off and realized that O-ring was gone. So anyway, like I said, you adjust your gauges. And I'm sure there's things I'm forgetting. Oh, and you want to make sure you're not overheating your bike. So all I've been doing, I've got some cold water in here. This is a little pressure spray bottle. And if you got a big old fan, I'd say mount it in front. Otherwise, if you got a spray bottle, I just hose it all down the radiator here. I can't remember if this is oil cooled or water cooled, but anyway, hose down that radiator, and it's probably oil cooled. You're air cooled and oil cooled, and then water, you know, I'll spray some water on the fins of the radiator every once in a while as I go along. Should keep it cool enough, I would think. These don't really have a heat gauge per se. But anyway, this video is twice as long as I wanted it to be, but still not as long as some of them. Hope this video helps somebody, and if you guys have any questions or concerns, put them in the comments. I'm usually pretty quick to respond that way. I'll do my best. As always, may God bless you.